session is going to be really interesting because they're going to be speaking to us about what it takes to make a Wonder Woman in tech. And we're going to hear about what it takes from Avanti to be a Wonder Woman or a young Wonder Woman. So let's give them a warm welcome. It's the mum and daughter duo, Avanti and Madam Avanti.
Hey everyone, I'm Avanti. I'm 11 years old and I'm the preteen technology specialist at Workshop for Me.
Hi, I'm Madhumalti. I'm very happy to be here at the Wonder Woman in Technology conference here today. 5 years ago, I started a non-profit organization through which we teach kids to code. And what is interesting about it is co-founded by my 16-year-old son Leo, he's here, and myself. And from 2 years ago, Avanti has joined us and is also running the coding sessions.
In my life, I've seen many seniors who are about 5 years older than me get the opportunity to take STEM subjects. But they don't. I wonder why. Children need empowerment. Parents often tell children that they're too young or they won't understand anything, and they also don't take the effort of explaining something. Often parents also think that children like to see animals talk or do silly things and wear princess dresses all day and paint their room pink. It's true, we do like to paint our room pink. However, that's only a small part of our liking, and that's what the adult world doesn't know or doesn't understand. As a result, children who have access to all these things completely cut themselves out from it by the age of about 15. So, you won't find any dolls with them, you won't find them talking about princesses anymore, and you won't find them wearing the color pink very often. In fact, they do their hair and makeup very differently too, so no more ponytails and braids. And when I see this, I feel sad, because I know that they had too much of a dose of something. It's like eating your favorite meal every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, what can we do to avoid this fear? Let's start from the roots, the education system. We need to look into the education system differently. While a good part of the education system does a lot of paper-based activities, like making dolls, making houses, writing stuff on paper, and dressing up as people, they think that we will learn from this. And it's also true. We do learn from this. However, this is an extremely slow process, and it takes a lot of time. A much easier and better way would be to learn through electronic devices. That way, children can really learn and enjoy what they're doing. So, now, why aren't children picking up STEM subjects? They feel they aren't ready. They feel that they aren't made for it. And now, what I think is, and by the way, they also have the capability to do all this stuff, but this fear comes in by social media. Those people on social media, you guys know who I'm talking about. Yeah, so it comes in through that. Now, what I would say to do from this would be to encourage your child and tell your child that you can learn stuff. Normally, 2 to 3 months after your child joins college or university, they feel that their knowledge is inadequate due to the education system. Then, they think that they're not smart and that they aren't ready. Eventually, they become college dropouts. If they don't become college dropouts, they opt for an easier, or should I say, non-STEM subject. It's not that I'm against arts, however, I feel that since we spend so much time in the education system and so much time in school, I would like to see girls picking up subjects which are harder to learn at home. And in my eyes, science is an art. Most people think of an artist as someone who has a paintbrush and a canvas and who paints something on the canvas. But can an artist also be someone who designs a new airplane, or designs a new bridge, or maybe even a creative entrepreneur? So, now, as I said, children aren't picking up STEM subjects because they feel they aren't ready, and they feel they aren't made for it, and they fear failure. Coming back to the topic of failure, they think, if I want to be cool and popular, I want to be with my friends, and I should take subjects which might make me fail. So what is the safer side? I'll take other subjects, which for me are simpler to pass. And that's where they make the mistake. They think it's safe sailing all the way through life. But no, because now they need to find a job. And let me tell you, it is much harder to succeed as an artist as it is to succeed as a scientist. So, what are the ways we can avoid this fear? Do maths and science more with your child. Do experiments which they think are cool and fun. Also, take your child to more conferences. They'll like it, even if at the beginning they really don't want to go and say it's boring. And try teaching your child coding. And if you don't know how to code yourself, learn with your child. Some great starters are Code.org, App Inventor, or maybe even Scratch. So, all of you are thinking, I know how to make myself into a Wonder Woman in tech. I know how to make my child into a Wonder Woman in tech, then how do I become a Wonder Woman in tech? I want to be one too, you know. So here's how.
So how many of you are into technology or know how to code with a show of hands? So many of you, right? How many of you have kids or people around you whom you have exposed to technology and teaching them how to code? Yeah? This is very good to know. The numbers have fallen, but I'm hoping it's because you all are very young and you do not have kids or people around you. But why is it that we think, that it's too young an age to get kids to start to code? What do you think is a good age? Why do we think we should keep children away from devices and reduce screen time? Do you stay away from a knife because it's unsafe, that you might hurt someone with? You can use it to also chop it up and cook a lovely meal, right? You can make dinner with it. Does it mean the knife is bad? The same is with technology. The same is with your devices, right? It depends on what you are giving it to your child for, or what he or she is using it for. So for those of you who are not into technology, do you think you've missed the bus? It's too late to start? Yes? No? I'm here to give you some hope. You haven't missed the bus. It is possible that you jump in and also become a Wonder Woman and in technology. How can you do that? It requires changes in the way you are currently operating. For example, 1, be a problem solver. Instead of trying to park yourself with a problem, if you just go down, you see the smiling faces of these young girls. We ran a coding workshop in a village in India for these girls. They had a very small computer room with very few computers, and there were a lot of children, around 100 girls. They didn't make that be a deterrent for them. They became problem solvers. They decided to form groups of people and do it in turns. They decided that they are going to all huddle together and then take turns in writing lines of code so that everyone gets a feel for it. So this is just one simple small example, but in your life you will see there are a lot of instances where you have the option of trying to think of a way of being a problem solver or siding with the problem. So try to be a problem solver if it is possible to do that. The next thing you can do is try to become a doer. You know, this whole life hack or DIY culture, bring it into you, the DIY or do it yourself. Instead of going for hired help or people to come and help you in doing things, try and pick it up and do it yourself. You can start by making your own vegetable, garden in your kitchen, reusing the plastic bottles that come out of it, Or you can upcycle your t-shirts or even use old jeans to make something, whatever, it doesn't matter what. It's about making your mindset into that of turning things around and making things work. So try doing that as well. For those who are in the corporate life, working in a job, do you think you cannot do that? You think you cannot get an opportunity to do these things? Yeah? You actually still can. Go ahead and seek that job or that responsibility which you think looks very difficult. in which you meet only say 60% of the criteria in another department or in a function which you would love to try out. Go ahead and try and take it up. You'll surprise yourself, you know, and maybe others around you as well. So go ahead and do it. The other one for the people in corporate life, change your mindset from a salary earner to someone who is a change maker. The moment you start thinking that you're not going to measure yourself in terms of the amount of money you make or the amount of wealth you accumulate over time, but you're going to measure yourself with the amount of impact you're creating in society, the amount of impact you're creating of people around you, whether they are in your home, in your office, or everywhere. When there is a problem to solve in the office, who is the person people reach out to? If your colleague is facing a challenge at work, who is it that they are reaching out to? If in your community there is a kid who is not being able to decide what stream to choose, whom do they reach out to? The moment you start measuring yourself in terms of the impact you create, you're going to see that there is a big change in the mindset. Now, for all of these things to happen, corporations, your peers, society have a big role to play. They all need to be able to come together and make it happen. And there are some concrete ways in which you don't have to wait for the policymakers to change things to make it happen. There are stuff that you can do right here, right now by yourself. For example, most of us have access to public libraries. How about turning the library into a place where you meet and use that to build skills? Help others around you, whether it is to create a better CV, whether it is to learn how to code or to make something else. Do stuff like that. How many of you go for kitty parties or parties where women or people are just getting together just to eat some food and talk about jokes and have some fun? Turn those around. Make that into a coding party. You know, get together and hack stuff, make stuff. That will change the mindset. You know, it's something simple that you can do, but it will change the way you do things, and it will change you from a regular person or a woman into a wonder woman in technology. So all of these things can actually be done by people to turn and transform yourself into a wonder woman in technology.
Make me a promise today that you will encourage your child to take STEM subjects.
And encourage yourself too, so you learn with them.
That you will encourage your child to think out of the box.
So this box is a cliche, you know? I mean, forget the box. Think there's no box. Just do your own thing.
And that you will let your child use electronic devices to learn STEM and to learn how to code.
So it's not as if you have to give limited time for using the screen. If your kid is learning how to develop his own app using the screen time, please go ahead and encourage him or her. And learn a few things by yourself as you go along with it.
Thank you.
So remember that coding is your greatest superpower, you know. Coding is my superpower. I wear a badge saying that I can code. What's yours? Let's come up with yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you all have any questions? You are familiar with tools to use to learn to code by yourself and
So as a, I don't code myself. I do work with a lot of developers, and I do want to start coding because sometimes I get lost and I'm like, I want to understand that. So what's the best way to start? Just step one.
I would say learn, first of all, think step by step in learning how to code. So don't think that, oh, the computer will understand I actually want to do this. So I had this problem as well when I was starting to learn how to code. So think exactly, just tell the computer exactly what you want to do.
so you can do simple stuff like code.org, where they have puzzles which you can try to solve if you like gaming and doing things like that. There are also a lot of drag and drop programming interfaces like Scratch and MIT App Inventor. Once you feel that you have learned the basics of logic and how things work, learning a language is very easy to do. You know, then you can go ahead and learn Python or JavaScript, whatever language that you want to learn. There are a lot of free online courses available to do that, and a lot of tutorials available as well. But start with something which is fun, which doesn't look too intimidating. So code.org, Scratch and MIT is what I would suggest.
Thank you. It's very, very impressive, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, weren't they amazing? Honestly, I feel like, what was I doing when I was 11 years old? You know, watching Avanti's really made me think about what I was doing when I was that age. But brilliant. And I think it's even more amazing that, you know, Madam Avanti has a full-time job Monday to Friday and does this on the weekend. So this is super inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and teaching us. Let's give them another round of applause.